The crime is called pseudocide. Pseudo from the word fake and side from the Old English word for killing. And what happens is someone disappears, the idea being that they will 5 years later collect the insurance money. Now, pseudocide is a crime, no, insurance fraud is a crime of non-professionals. And they usually come a cropper somewhere along the line because they just don't know how to pull it off so that the police can't follow the money, can't follow them, can't track it, can't investigate it, can't prove it's fraud. A policeman could pull it off, but most of the rest of us probably couldn't. If you look at the history of pseudocide, you find that most people who try and defraud an insurance company for life insurance by faking their own death need the money. Now, there are a number of instances, stories in recent history that have made headlines. There was a man named John Stonehouse in Britain. He was a British MP, a Labour MP, who in 1974 faked his own death by drowning, left his clothes on a beach and disappeared. And he had serious financial problems. He also had a girlfriend, and the two of them showed up some years later in Australia, and he ended up going to jail for it. Ken Kesey, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, was done on marijuana charges in 1966, and he decided he couldn't possibly go to jail, so he faked his own death and ran to Mexico, got caught, and ended up doing 5 months back in a U.S. prison. There was a very interesting case not long ago of an undertaker in Colorado who faked his own death, but too many people knew that he wasn't dead, so that didn't work. There was another undertaker in, I think he was in Missouri recently, who faked the death of his clients. Now, this is pretty weird, because if you're an undertaker, most of your clients are dead anyway. But he faked a few extra ones for the insurance, and he got caught. Over the past few years, pseudocide has been on the increase. As people have had financial problems, it's a way out. It's one of the things that people think of to help solve their financial woes. But the investigators and the cops have gotten better at it too, and it's much more difficult now to disappear because of the internet. Pseudocide has increased over the past few years. There have been places where you can buy the documents. Thailand is a favorite spot. Haiti, the island of Haiti, has become the pseudocide capital of the world. People go to Haiti and fake somebody's death. They get the phony papers, they get phony cremation papers, they get it stamped at various embassies and consulates and police stations, and come back to America and say, well, my spouse died on this trip and we had them cremated, we had her cremated in Haiti, and here's the paperwork. The problem with that is, if I know that Haiti is this kind of a place, and you know it too, well, the investigators know it as well. So as soon as you come back to America with the paperwork saying my spouse died in Haiti and we had her cremated, please pay the insurance, alarm bells go off. There's a famous story about a couple from Louisiana who went to Haiti, and the idea was he was having financial problems. The idea was that his wife was going to fake her own death. They'd get the paperwork done in Haiti and come back to America, and he would collect on the insurance. And she backed out at the last minute. So he murdered her and collected on the insurance until the cops and the insurance investigators realized what happened, and he's in jail. It's a tough crime to pull off. Witness Mr. Darwin, the canoeist from Britain, who showed up on the internet supposedly in Panama with his wife. It's a tough trick to pull off. To go to Panama is very strange and would raise serious alarm bells with the police and the insurance investigators, because they have no relationship that is obvious with Panama, except for the fact that Panama has phony shell companies and secret banking. And it has been for years one of those places where you launder money. The problem is, you don't want to go where the money is, because if they can follow you, they can follow the money trail. So they've made a critical error by choosing Panama. It's the wrong place to go in this case.